everyone, Ash here. I thought I would do a video because this has been on my mind for the last few days. It's actually been on my mind for the last few decades, but I've really been musing over this concept recently and having different conversations with different people as to what they think it is and what I think it is. But I thought it would be of huge benefit to people if they understand this, particularly at this time. I don't know about you, but I'm going through boredom, I'm going through anxiety, fear, bits of sadness, depression, and then I'm jumping back out of it and going, no, like the world's a beautiful place, the sun's shining, this is needed for the world. All these emotions, and I'm sure many people are going through a multitude of emotions every day. Some people might be absolutely fine, some people might not be. But anyway, I thought I would explain what is going on emotionally through the eyes of the law of attraction. And I'm going to use the analogy of metalheads, metal music. So I was chatting to my mate recently, and he was listening to some sort of 90s metal, and I recognised it all because I'm a big metalhead myself. I like all music. No, I don't like all music. I hate house music. But I like different types of music. I also really love metal because I grew up on it, and it seems that people that's a niche category, because people either love metal music or they hate it, they can't stand it, and there's reasons for this. But I was chatting to my mate, oh, is this so and so? Oh God, I love this tune, and and it's quite heavy music, but his instant reply was, "It chills me out, man. It just calms me down." And I'm like, me too. Isn't that weird? Ask any metalhead why they listen to really heavy music and they will have the same answer. It's because it calms you down. Now, the reason for this is, bizarrely, law of attraction. So, where's my pen? Let's just, this, as I'll explain, can go for absolutely any emotion, but I'm choosing anger because it's one of the strongest emotions. On a vibrational level, it is the one that and love, absolute love, and absolute lack of love, which is anger, are the most extremes on a vibrational frequency. Okay? And here is what's going on. So we take anger, right? Now, when I'm angry, I instinctively put on angry music, whether I'm in the car, whether I'm at home or whatever. I'm just angry and I put on some angry music. And that anger dissipates afterwards. I'm fresh as a daisy. I'm the most chilled out, relaxed, together, cognizant, conscious, just chilled being ever. I'm totally neutral, if not the opposite of anger, chilled out to the max. So that's a process, right? What is going on there? We have anger, okay, and then we add anger. We don't try to change it. Anger plus anger equals chilled. Now, I'm sure you remember this from like algebra, plus equals minus, minus plus minus equals plus, plus and minus equals minus, minus and plus equals minus, blah 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 blah. It's very, very similar. Positives and negatives, anger and chilled, whatever. If you have two contrasting emotions, and for this example we have anger. Now the process is, I put on some angry music and that calms me down. Why is that? Because the law of attraction states that like attracts like. So, if I'm angry already and my initial thought is, I don't want to be angry, I don't want to feel this way. What do I want? I want to be chilled, okay? By knowing what you don't want, you know what you do want. However, if I'm angry and I go, I'm going to put on some chilled music. This is a crude example, but bear with me because it's deeper than you think. If I'm angry and I want to be chilled and I put on chilled music, what happens? I get more angry because I'm so aware that I'm angry, which means I'm so aware that I'm not chilled, that I'm not what I want to be. So it actually increases the anger because like attracts like, okay? It is not a conscious decision. The consciousness is going, I'm angry and I don't want to be that, so what do I want? I want chilled, so I add that to the equation, listen to some nice, Nick Drake or something. No, it has the opposite effect. It makes me more angry because I've not dealt with the initial emotion. So, the best thing to do in any emotion is go with it. I know it sounds weird, but you go with it. If I'm angry, I acknowledge that I'm angry and I sit with my anger. Okay? If I'm anxious, if I wake up and I'm anxious and I don't want to be anxious and I try to do things to change that, like meditation or going for a walk or whatever, I get more anxious because I've not dealt with the initial anger. And when I say dealt with, I mean acknowledged, accepted. Because this simple process of being angry, listening to angry music, which equals that anger dissipating and chilling me out and giving me what I actually wanted in the first place, there's a conscious union here. And it doesn't take much thought. All it is recognising I'm angry, I don't want to be angry, and I'm not going to do anything about changing it, okay? I'm not listening to angry music to change it. I'm listening to angry music out of inspired action. That is the crucial difference between action and inspired action. Action is going, I'm angry, I want to be chilled, I'm putting on some chilled music, makes me more angry. I'm already angry, and I'm not consciously doing anything about that. Therefore, what is attracted to me, like attracts like, is even more anger. Okay? But my inspired action is just recognising, in the moment, I'm really angry, and I instinctively put on some angry music, and then that anger dissipates. Okay? Now, I'm using anger for an example because it's one we all suffer with, it's one we all don't like, but there are lessons to be learned in anger. We should not try to change how we feel. We only take action if we're inspired to. So, I'm going to reset the board and start using some other examples. Okay, so let's say I am content. And I don't need to do anything about that. I'm already content. I don't need to change anything about this contentness. But maybe if I'm content and I'm going with that contentness, I might listen to some music that makes me feel content, that is just really relaxed, that is really chilled. So I add to the equation contentness. What does that equal? Well, during this process, just like the anger, it equals more anger, but for a short space of time. And contentness plus contentness doesn't equal non-contentment. It equals something else to search for, to be content with. Does that make sense? Which is a beautiful thing. Finding things to make us content. How would we know what makes us content unless we felt uncontent? So the whole process starts again. So let's use something else. If I'm feeling anxious. Okay, nobody likes feeling anxious. It's horrible. At its extremes, it causes panic attacks. Even just mild anxiety it's just always there throughout your day. And you can wake up feeling anxiety in your chest, and if you don't do anything about it, you take that anxiety with you through the whole day, and it affects every single thing in your day. Things happen which make you more anxious, right? So this need to change our emotions is natural, it's totally normal. If you wake up feeling anxious, your natural response is, I don't want to be feeling anxiety, okay? So I then want to change that feeling. And where we go wrong is we take action to change that anxiety, which actually makes us feel more anxious. So the action that we need to take is inspired action. And all that is recognizing exactly how you feel. I'm anxious, so I'm just going to sit with my anxiety. I'm not going to try and change it. I'm not going to do anything about it. If I'm anxious, I'm just going to accept that I'm anxious. And sooner or later, that anxious drifts away, and all of a sudden, you feel content. And you think that this is a completely unconscious process, but it isn't, because the consciousness comes in right at the beginning in recognizing exactly how you feel in the moment, and not judging it, not being attached to it, not changing it, just going about your day and just saying, I'm anxious, I have this anxiety, don't know what to do with it, let's just see what happens, okay? And that anxiety completely dissolves. So let's go through this in more of a sort of traditional law of attraction sense. If you're into law of attraction, if you've discovered what law of attraction is, if you've started to consciously manifest rather than unconsciously manifest, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, I'll try and explain it here. So if we have a desire, okay? Oh, no. Let's say we have a problem. Let's say our problem is money. I'm poor. Okay. If all you are looking at is your poorness, because like attracts like. If all you're looking at is your poorness, equals more poorness. If you're looking at your bank account and going, I'm so skint, I'm so worried, I'm so scared, I don't know what to do, I'm just so skint, like attracts out like, the universe gives you what you are giving it. I'm poor. So you get more examples of I'm poor. Okay? If you are poor and you want to change that, so your desired result is to be rich or just comfortable, the process to change that is, this is where it might get confusing, but it's a subtle nuance, but it's only confusing because it's so simple, okay? If you recognize that you're poor and you change that feeling, that thought, that belief to rich and comfortable, if this is what you're vibrating more dominantly, guess what you get? Rich and comfortable. Literally. If you look at your bank account and go, okay, it's zero, but you feel rich and comfortable with whatever you have, money will come out of nowhere, literally, out of thin air in ways that you couldn't possibly imagine, okay? But how do you get from there to there? Because that is the opposite. So just like anger if you're angry and you want to get to chilled, if you try and change it, you actually go back on yourself and you create a feedback loop. You get more angry, right? So if you're poor and you want to get to rich and comfortable and you jump to that, it feels weird, it feels unnatural. Emotions come up, feelings in the body come up, limiting self-beliefs come up. This is called contrast, and the reason they are there are for you to gradually undo. Okay, it's a gradual process, but here's the secret ingredient, and you've already seen it. I've shown it in this example. The way to hack the system is, if you are poor and you recognize that you are poor, okay, and you don't try and judge it, you don't have any attachment to it, you look at the fact that you are poor, therefore you accept it, and you don't judge it at all, you don't try and change it, you just let go of it. You just go, okay, I'm poor, right? So what? I'm poor. There's nothing I can do about it right now. One day I won't be poor, but right now I'm poor, and I completely accept my situation that I am poor. Guess what you get? Rich and comfortable. Excuse my terrible writing. Does this make sense? This is like the minus and the positives equaling minus. Positives and minus equal minus. Plus 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 equals minus, and minus plus minus equals plus. Like double negatives. It's a really, really subtle thing. But ultimately, all you have to do is not worry about any of this. All you have to do is worry, not even worry, all you have to do is acknowledge exactly how you feel from the get-go, and you go with it. That is the path of least resistance. Question: what is the path, my path of least resistance in this moment with how I'm feeling? Whether you are poor, whether you are angry, whether you are anxious, whether you're sad. So this is why it works, right? Say you're sad for whatever reason. Say it's the end of a relationship, whatever. What do people do? They watch sad movies. They listen to sad songs. And what happens? Let's say I'm really sad and I put on a sad movie. I'm going with that initial emotion, and what comes out of that? Happiness. Something within that sad film will lift me out of my sad mood because I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't needing it. I wasn't trying to change anything. I just accepted exactly how I felt in the first place and went with it. Then you get the absolute opposite of it. The universe works in opposites. The universe is duality itself. But all opposites can be reconciled by looking at the process, by looking at how you're feeling and going with it. That is, in Jungian philosophy, our shadow self, our shadow side. We should not try to change how we feel and have that. Someone said to me recently, toxic positivity. Like I posted something online and they said, oh, this reeks of toxic positivity. I was like, I love that, toxic positivity. Positivity is either positive or it's not positive. If it's toxic positivity, then it's not positive, it's negative. And we do have this drilled into us that we should try to be positive all the time. And we shouldn't, because if we try to be positive all the time, we're trying to change. We're trying to go from anger to chilled, for example, from negativity to positivity. And what we get is more negativity. Even more than we had in the first place. Positivity doesn't exist without negativity. Negativity is actually a gift to cycle through to positivity, if that makes sense. Even I'm confused now. But my whole point of this is find out what your path of least resistance is in any moment. So if you're feeling content and happy, there is no resistance. You just go with that and you appreciate that you're feeling content and happy, okay? But if you're angry, if you're stressed, if you're sad, if you're worried, don't try and change it, because you'll end up in more of a mess. If you're sad, you will end up way more sad. Plus, 3 times as sad as to begin with if you try to change to be happy. If you're happy and you try and change yourself to sad, it's not possible. You can't do it, right? You'll be way more happy. All you have to do is go with the initial emotion. Just recognize it. Don't judge it. And it's one of the hardest things to do, I'm not going to lie to you. Just, waking up anxious and going, hey, I'm anxious. That's it. That's where the thought ends. Don't try and change anything. Just sit with that anxiety, and something will happen throughout your day which you didn't expect, which you didn't plan for, which you didn't try to control or change, which completely alleviates that anxiety and gives you a sign of contentment. I promise. For any emotion, be it sadness, anger, depression, anxiety, fear, whatever, go with it. Because in going with it and going to the complete unknown, you don't know what's on the other side of going with it. You know what's on the other side of trying to change it. It's more of whatever you're feeling, right? But if you go with it, you have already consciously chosen that you want something different. And by yielding to that, by not trying to change anything, by not being attached to anything, the universe will gift you exactly what you want. Because it is the opposite. The universe works in opposites for everything, the opposite of each other, right? And the way to get in between this system is by going with the flow. That's what people say, by going with the flow. The path of least resistance. Like water flowing down a stream. You don't go against the stream. If you're sad and you want to be happy, and you try to make yourself happy, you are going against the stream. Because the stream is flowing down sadness. Okay? But nothing is permanent. And nature abhors a vacuum. Right? This is what I meant earlier by if you're feeling content already, and you go with that contentness, you add to that equation more contentment. What will equal is like I've been content about that thing, so I couldn't possibly be any more content right now. Nature abhors a vacuum, so it'll give you something to go and search for more contentment. If you're angry, and you go with that anger, you go with it, you go, bring it on. I'm angry, I'm going to be bloody angry. I'm going to put on some angry music and see how angry I can get. You get the exact opposite. You get chilledness, because nature abhors a vacuum. You can't be angry forever. You go from each other, and this is what duality is. But when you see the process of how this works, and you release control, I'm going to write this down. If you release control, what is the opposite of releasing control? Everything has its equal opposite in this universe. What is the opposite of releasing control? Having control. Starting to make sense? If you're angry and you release control of being chilled, and you just go with the flow down the path of least resistance and go, I'm angry, and you release control, any control over that anger, you gain control. And you've already gained control from the get-go by acknowledging exactly how you feel in the first place, no matter what emotion that is. Go with it. Try it next time you feel something which feels uncomfortable, or you don't want to be feeling, or something you recognise about your life that you don't want to be experiencing. If you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, but don't try and go to what you do want. Keep it in mind, be mindful of it, but go with exactly where you are, because that is acceptance. And acceptance changes everything. It changes the whole energy, and you may not even feel it straight away, you may not even notice it straight away, but it will. Trust me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments if you've had any experience of this, or let me know the experiences you do have. Go away, test it, test the universe, test yourself, test your own emotions, test the laws of the universe, and see what happens, and then come back and let me know. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Namaste.